When the Talmud talks about Jesus in the Talmud, scholarship at first started to say, oh, maybe this is historical. Maybe we can learn something about historical Jesus. We can't. This is later tradition. This is 4th, 5th century about Jesus.
The Talmud is by far the most deviously used piece of evidence for Jesus. The reason why I say this is because this particular reference to a Jesus of Nazareth being executed and everything actually comes from the reign of King Jannaeus, which happened between 104 BCE and 74 BCE. Also, all of the information surrounding this Jesus' death does not match up whatsoever to the Jesus that supposedly started Christianity. For one thing, he was put to death for sorcery, not blasphemy. You see, they didn't really care about Jesus doing miracles. They cared about the fact that Jesus was talking about how, he is the I am, he's like the Son of God and all this other stuff. That's what they cared about. They didn't care about him doing miracles and shit. Another thing is that this particular Jesus was executed directly by the Jews, not the Romans. He was also stoned, as indicated by Jewish law, and not crucified. And to pile it on, he was executed in Lydda and not Jerusalem. This reference in the Talmud continues on to say that this Jesus had a connection with the government and had 5 disciples that were immediately put to death after him. All of this is contrary to everything we know from either the Gospels or from Paul. So this particular Jesus should not be mentioned. This doesn't prove your point. You need to throw it out.
A lot of Christians think that this Talmud is talking about Jesus of Nazareth being hung on Passover for leading Israel astray. His mother's name's Mary. What is the deal with this? Is this the real Jesus? Is this some other Jesus? What is this?
His mother is described as an adulteress who had a baby. This is big, okay, with a Roman soldier named Pantera, and out comes this guy Yeshu, who leads the Jewish people astray. For some reason, this Jesus figure, this Yeshu figure in the Talmud, is dated to either a person who lived in the 1st century BCE or in the 2nd century. So he's not the Jesus of Christianity.
Now, the Talmud, my brother spoke about, we don't say what JC represents. The Talmud doesn't even talk about JC. It talks about a fellow by the name of Yeshu, or Yeshu HaNotzri. Because if you look at the sources and you understand at what point in time they're talking, it seems very clear to me, and indeed to commentators as much as 1,000 years ago, that there's for sure more than one person being mentioned in the verses. Because you take some hints from the verses, and it's clear that it's not talking about the same people.